release me from my winter hell. I've got candles and candy, I can be your daddy if you only let me creep into your prison cell. Hey baby, can you tell I'm not a criminal? Your choice is seminal. I want you to stay true to what's right for you. No matter who or know what will others say, just find your way and try to stay true. Just speak low, stand in your row, try not to show this life's a show. Try not to glow way down below. Oh, it's a lot of woe, and that's not a place where you would like to go. I've got cigarettes and brandy, which could come in handy if you just help me loosen up my hand grenades fuse. Baby, don't refuse my truth, but it's up to you not to choose. I want you to stay true to what's right for you. No matter who or know what will others say, just find your way and try to stay true. I want you to stay true to what's right for you. No matter who or know what will others say, just find your way and try to stay true, true,
Hi, everyone. How are you? Good evening. I hope you guys are doing well. Today's Wednesday. Mike. Guess what day it is? Hump day. I hope everybody had a great day. I had a great day. I was with my little chickie Nuggy Pot Pie Esquire all day, and we had a blast. We hung out. We painted nails. Um, she she wanted to paint my nails, but I was like, I don't know about that, babe. Maybe when you're 5. I think 4 might be a little young to paint Granny's nails. I'm not sure about it. All right. So anyway, before we get started, I just want to remind everybody that this is the schedule. Every night, 9 Central, 10 Eastern, I will be live with Diane Downs. Tonight is not going to be incredibly long. I want to warn you guys of that now, just because I have to get up tomorrow at 4:30. I've got to go down to my daughter's house and sit with the Nuggie while her hubby takes her to work. So there's no reason for her to be up at that early of an hour. That's ridiculous. So I go down there and I sit while he takes her to work. So anyway, I have to be up at like 4:30 to do that. I can't even, it's not even like, I mean, we live in the same like apartment complex. So it's not like a super far walk. It's literally, I don't know, like maybe a 5-minute walk, but I need to be awake to do a 5-minute walk. Plus she's got cats and they're always glad to see their granny. So, you know, they're awake. So anyway, that's what I'm doing tomorrow. And then I'll be live tomorrow night at the same time. And I think what we're going to do tomorrow night is I'm going to play you guys the infamous television interview that actually didn't air until it was recorded in November of 1983, but it didn't air until after her trial in 1984 to make sure that she got a fair trial. So I'm going to play that tomorrow night, and then we're going to also start with on the 2020 parole hearing, because it's a doozy. It's in several parts, and it's not one that you can skip around. You've got to listen to it all. So that's what the agenda is, and we'll just keep going until we're through it, and then I'll have other stuff that we're going to talk about also. Tomorrow, after I get finished watching the Nuggie, I will come back to the house. I will work on the finishing touches for the Ed Gein video. I've got to put the finishing touches on the second episode for the West Memphis 3, and then there'll be a companion Patreon video that goes with the second episode from the West Memphis 3. So be looking out for those. So that's all of the old and new business I have for you guys. Once again, this comes from the channel Diane Downs TV. It's a fantastic channel. I highly recommend checking it out. They have that channel has things that you cannot get, like what we're going to play tonight. So tonight I'm going to play for you guys these are her own audio recordings. Okay. These were recorded 4 days after the shooting. Okay. So let me say hi to you guys really quickly, and then we'll get started. Hey, Alicia, good to see you. Neat. Hello, babe. Hey, TK in Texas. I'm glad you did all of your homework and now you're invested. Hey, Jude. Appreciate the like. Hey, Kelly. Hey, Christine. Good to see you. Mary. Hello. Crystal. Petunia. Good to see you. Sarah Bellum. Hello. Hey, Boho Hobo. Hey, preschool granny. Good to see you. Hey, Carolina Hurtado. Good to see you. Coffee and Skeletons, good to see you. I think I got Roses. Fall Thorns Remain, welcome in. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. I think I got Hey, Vanessa. Hey, Brandy. Good to see you guys. Hey, Kelly Lisa. Good to see you. Crime Crochet and Coiffe. No, it just started, babe. You haven't missed anything. You have not missed it. You just got here. Hey, Fruit Fly. Good to see you. I think I got everybody. Jennifer, and Jonah. How are you? Good to see you. Newbie and Honey, I'm sorry. Newey and Honey, it's so good to see you. I haven't seen you in a long time. It's good to see you. Hey, Rhonda, good to see you. Welcome in. Hey, Jessica. Sorry about mispronouncing your name, but it's good to see you. It's been a minute. All right, you guys, you ready to get started? All right, here we go. Oh, haha. Let me turn it up. There we go.
May 23rd, 1983. And this tape will be a continuation of my diary. I used to keep a handwritten diary, but too many things have happened lately that I don't think that I can keep up with all my thoughts on paper. A detective named Dick Tracy suggested that for him to take notes from me would be almost impossible, so he used a tape. I decided it wasn't such a bad idea, so here I am taking notes on tape. The reason I have so many thoughts is because on May 19th, 1983, just a few short days ago, my kids and I were attacked. My second daughter, Cheryl, was killed. And Christie is in McKenzie-Willamette Hospital, in bad shape with tubes running all through her body. Some machine is helping her breathe. And she just looks so sick and pathetic. I got out of the hospital today, and Danny moved to a new hospital. Daniel was shot in the back. And his legs worked for a couple days. And then all of a sudden, yesterday, there seemed to be some concern about his legs all of a sudden don't move. Of course, this is after they've been picking him up and rolling him over, and anyway, they brought a doctor in.
Okay. It's not just the words that she's using, it's the tone in which she's using them, right? Like, she sounds, to me, in my opinion, she sounds angry that they survived. That's what it's giving. I don't, it's so odd. It's just so odd. Wait till you guys see this TV interview, though. It's even worse.
Neurologist poked some pins into Danny and checked him out and decided that they'd do some tests to see why his legs weren't working. So they took him to Sacred Heart. At this point, I'm not very optimistic. I haven't been optimistic for several days. Since I haven't been able to write down my thoughts for a few days, let me go ahead and express what's been happening since the 19th. That night, my kids and I went out for a ride to Heather's house. Heather is a friend of mine. She started in the Eugene post office the same day that I did. I told you about all that earlier. In my diary, I believe. And if I didn't, I'll tell you now, Heather's a friend. Heather wanted to get a horse. She wanted to adopt a horse. She talked to a couple people at the post office about it. And when I transferred to Cottage Grove, I saw a newspaper clipping a couple days ago about the Adopt a Horse program, and I clipped it out. I'm sorry if I sound tired. I am exhausted. It's been a long, long day.
It's always about her. Even, excuse me, even when she's talking about the children, it's still about her. And I'm not going to lie, y'all. I have to agree with you, Jennifer. Diane Downs does kind of scare the crap out of me. She's one of the ones. There's not many, but Diane is one of them that scares the crap out of me. There's something inhuman about her. It's crazy scary. All right, here we go.
Anyway, on with this. Cut the newspaper article out and brought it home. Kids and I went to Heather's that evening. Turns out Heather already had a horse, So we stood around, fed the horse, talked to Heather, and then we left. We went out Sunderman and up Marcola and back down and off down Old Mohawk, which is just a side road. It's something the kids and I always did, was take a side road. Never had any problems before. Anyway, something horrible happened that night. Honestly, sitting here, I don't remember everything that happened. I remember that my kids got shot and that I got shot. I remember Christie's face, her eyes, the blood. God, she was reaching for me. And Danny just kept crying. Cheryl didn't make a sound. I kept talking to them. And on the way to the hospital, I tried to figure out what happened. Put some reason to what happened, how it could have happened. Who could have done it? I didn't know him. The man just shot us. It was a nightmare. And then he threatened me and said if I told anybody about it, that he'd come back and kill me for sure. I don't know what he thinks he meant by that.
Yes, Kelly, Diane was shot. She was shot in the arm. And I feel like I remember there being testimony that the trajectory of the wound looked self-inflicted. And she's tried, and she's going to continue to try. We're going to see it over and over and over again, how she's going to try and attempt to explain the angle of the gunshot wound. And it's not going to get better. It's not going to make any more sense. It's, but it almost does feel like that, Jude. It does feel like she likes reliving it. But at the same time, it's like she's writing, like she's speaking all of this as if she's rehearsing, as if she's memorizing it. Yes, Kelly, she was the sole shooter. There was never a man. It was completely made up. Absolutely made up. Hey, Vanessa. Welcome in.
He already killed me. He shot my kids. How could you hurt anybody worse than to shoot their kids? But anyway, when I got to the hospital, I told them that somebody shot me and my kids. Take care of my kids. And they did. I kept going in the emergency room, asking, what's going on? How are they? And all I would say was, they're all three alive. We don't know anything else yet. And that was hope, but I couldn't sit down. I couldn't just wait. I've always been able to do something. And now there's just nothing. Just wait. So I'd sit down. And I'd get back up and go in there. They'd tell me to go sit and wait. They're all alive. You made it in time. My parents got there. And I cried and I cried. And I kept trying to figure out what happened. And the police got there and I told them, as best as I could remember, what happened. what made sense, the logic behind it. It's the only way it could have happened. And I told them. Then they wanted to go back out there. She said my arm was bad. They didn't know if I'd been shot someplace else. I needed to go to Sacred Heart because they didn't have the manpower. Not enough doctors. But the police said it was important that I go, so I did. And I went back out there, and oh, it was so ugly. I was afraid. He said he'd kill me. And there we were, out there again.
Now, y'all will recall that she referenced at the beginning of this tape that the detective recorded her version of events. At no time, y'all, in that tape did she ever say that he threatened to kill her. And I would remember that. But she never said it. Hey, Amelia Sparkles, good to see you. Yeah, good to see you. Blah, blah, blah. Can't talk. So she's full of crap.
And I didn't feel very safe, even with all the police around and the dog. And I remembered the car. There was a yellow car. But it was just there. I don't know, but it wasn't there when we went back. It was so crazy that night. Insane. My arms started hurting. I told the policeman I wanted to go back. He said he didn't have time. Didn't have time to take me back to the hospital. And I just sat there like a little kid, not daring ask a favor. And we drove down the road a little bit more.
She's so dramatic.
And sat. I said, my arm really is starting to hurt. Please take me back to the hospital. He got rather perturbed with me. After another time of asking, he finally took me back to the bridge, up where the kids and I used to go and stand at night and throw rocks in the water when things were normal.
She's so
I should
dramatic.
have gone to the river that night.
In the worst way.
There's never anybody at the river. Anyway, a detective got me there, Dick Tracy. That's really his name. I asked him about it. I thought he was joking. He had a calling card and everything. That's really his name. Since then, I've learned that that really is his name, because he's come to see me several times. And he's trying to help figure out what happened that night.
Yeah, because they don't believe you.
They took me back to the hospital. Didn't take me to Sacred Heart like the nurse said. That was okay with me. I wanted to be by my kids. When I got back, they x-rayed my arm. God, you should have seen my arm. It fell. It was just, it was disgusting. It was totally foreign. I hated it. And they did tests on my hands. You know, just the kind of tests that they always do to see if you fired a gun. And then they sprayed some stuff inside my hand to see if I'd held a gun. It didn't upset me. I knew that it was something they had to do, a preliminary test. It was a whatever, just stuff they do. I accepted it.
How old is she here, or how old was she? How old is she now? She's now in her 70. She was born in 55. So she's like 28, I think, in 1983. Yes. This is an excellent question. Jennifer asks, raise your hand if you found yourself driving on a dark road with your children. Would you stop to help a man on the side of the road? Uh, no, absolutely not. And also, it's always back to her. It always goes back to her. She's barely mentioned her children at all. Barely.
They put my arm back in this little plate thing and wrapped it back up. And I went down to some examining room. Oh yeah, they took pictures of my arm with my face in it, with my tears and my red eyes. Yeah, they wanted the face that belonged to that arm. They got it. Then I went down to the examining room. And finally I was alone. It was nice to be alone. A nurse came in. She checked me over to make sure I wasn't shot someplace else and told me to put a gown on. Wrapped a blanket around me because I was just shaking so bad. I wasn't shaking from cold. I still didn't know how my kids were. They told me Chris was in surgery. Then somebody said Cheryl was dead. Well, they didn't tell me it was Cheryl. They said one of them. And they told me Christie. I love all my kids. But Christie's just like me, and she was really my favorite. No matter how much I love all the kids, you can't help but have a favorite sometimes. And I hurt so bad for Christie. And I hurt for Cheryl because they told me that Cheryl was worse off, that she might not make it, and I was confused.
Kimberly, she used a 22.
Why did Christie die if Cheryl was worse? I didn't understand it. Then somebody came in and said Cheryl had died. God, I didn't know what to do. And I started to cry because they were both gone, and somebody said, no, Christie's still alive. It's Cheryl that died. And I was so freaked out. What do you do? Nobody knew who they were. They didn't know their names. My God, they weren't wearing name tags. And I got up and I was going to go look and see who was still alive. The chaplain came in and he said that my dad had identified my dead daughter, and it was Sherry. And then I knew that it was really Sherry. And that Christie was in surgery. And I could still hear Danny crying. You know, I don't know if I really heard him crying or if it was in my mind. But I could hear it. I'll probably always hear it. And I answered questions. And I told him what happened. Talk about a space cadet. God. My mind was just annihilated. Something that horrible. The things I saw, smelled, and heard was bad. So bad. Then the doctors came in. There were 3 of them, I think. And they said, Christie looked like she had a better chance. So we concentrated on her, and the other one didn't make it. They didn't even use Sherry's name, and she was just the other one. That hurt.
I think that's a lie. I mean, I'm sure that um, they did say something along the lines of they believe that Christie was going to survive. She had a better shot, or she had a good shot at surviving. Which, using the term "shot" is interesting given the circumstances. But I believe they said something um, to her, but do I think that they said it to her in that way? No. This is more, this is more of her being dramatic and making herself a victim. Crime Crochet says, I either read it or heard it on one of the many documentaries. I can't even read. I've seen, but Cheryl was not her favorite. She couldn't stand that child. Cheryl is the one that died. She's saying Christie is her favorite. And I believe that the way that she talks about Cheryl and it almost it comes across when she's talking about initially thinking that it was Christie that died and that Cheryl survived. Um, and then they confirm that that it's Christie who survived and Cheryl died. She sounds relieved. Um, yes, preschool granny, Christie, who is the oldest, and by oldest, I mean she was 8. Cheryl was, 7, and Danny was 3 at the time. And, yes, Christie, testified against her. Yes, she did. Yeah, and the sniffs. I've seen MK in other chats. I think that, I know he gets up really early for work, and so I think I go too late for him, but whenever I do a day live, he pops in. So, um, hopefully, we'll see. I plan to be live on the weekend, so hopefully we'll see him during that because he works. He's a busy dude.
Why weren't there enough doctors? Why didn't they do something for Cheryl? They got all kinds of machines to keep people alive. Why didn't they keep her alive somehow? How could they just let her die? Then it was time to go to my room. And I told them I wouldn't go until I got to see my kids. And they said, okay. And they took me into ICU, and I could see Chrissy in there with people all around her. And I could hear Danny still crying. And I went in to see Danny first. Oh, he hurt so bad. He was so scared. He hates the hospital. He had his tonsils out when he was 2, and he just hates the hospital. He's scared of the nurses, the doctors. And he was fighting and crying, and he had that oxygen mask over his face, and he kept trying to pull it off, and they kept putting it back on. Hold on, I gotta blow my nose. Don't mind me. All right. Anyway.
Well, thank you, Mama23. Welcome to the ward. And thanks for joining. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Danny was laying there, screaming and fighting. And I leaned over, put my arm around his head, laid my head down on his pillow and gave him a kiss. And told him to hush, Danny, I love you. Go to sleep, baby. And he said he wanted the mask off, and I asked him if it was absolutely necessary, and they said no, he's doing pretty good now. So they took it off. And he quit crying, and he looked at me, said, "I love you, Mommy." And I gave him another kiss, and he fell asleep. I don't know what time that was, probably 3 o'clock, I don't know.
Okay. Hey, thank you, Preschool Granny, for being a member for 22 months. I appreciate that. And also, hey, Justified, good to see you. Here's the deal, okay? For anybody that might not know or just has, I mean, this is an older case and it's been a long time and the details get lost. But after all of this happened, like they were suspecting Diane pretty much from the beginning. Nothing she said was really adding up, and her effect was off. Um, like we listened to last night, her interrogation. It's not. I guess it's not really an interrogation. It's her bedside interview at the hospital, and so we were listening to it last night, and it's in two parts because there are two tapes. And the second tape is all about Robert Knickerbocker, who she calls Nick. Everybody, I guess that's his nickname, Nick. But yeah, it was all about him. It was not about her children. She never once asked, "What are you guys doing to find this man? What can I do to help you find this man?" That entire second tape was nothing but all about her relationship with Nick, how she knew that he loved her and she definitely loved him. And it was all, oh God, his wife, Charlene. It was all Charlene's fault that they were not together and living their best life and living the fairy tale. But when she would talk about them having like plans, future plans, it was interesting because the one thing that she never elaborated on that. She didn't, she said we, not me, not us and the kids. Like she just didn't mention the children. It was very, very odd. And I thought that the investigators did a fantastic job just letting her talk. I think if they would have interrupted and asked a bunch of questions, I think that I don't think they would have gotten as much out of her as they ended up doing. She didn't actually throw her keys into the field. So she pretended to throw her keys in the field, she said, to distract him, to get him, and so she could push him and then get in the car herself and drive to the hospital at a very, very, very slow pace. There was somebody that came up behind them on the road, and they passed her, and they were not even in second gear. They were in first. So she was going incredibly slow. But anyway, oh, did you, Jude, on Diane Downs TV, that channel? She's got, I believe that channel has all of them. I keep wanting to say she because it's Diane Downs TV, but I don't actually know, the gender of the person that owns or that runs that channel. But that channel has them all. I don't want to play like all of their content. So anyway, in the interim of all of this, she ends up being discharged from the hospital. Okay. I feel like she was in the hospital for like a week or something like that. Oh yes, they have everything. Yes. I just wanted to give you guys, like the heads. I just wanted to give you guys the highlights, but because I really want to get to the parole hearings, they've got great content. I will, I'll grab their link and put it. It's in the description of the first video, and or the live from last night. and it'll be in the description for this one. But anyway, they went and got a court order, okay, to keep her away from the kids because they suspected her. And there were times when she would be in the hospital room with Christie and want the nurses out of there, and Christie would be, her monitors and stuff would go off as she was agitated and upset by her mom, and she couldn't speak. And then when the kids ended up finally were discharged from the hospital, Christie went to a foster home, but if I remember correctly, Danny went to his dad, and she wasn't supposed to see the kids, and she would just pop up, and basically, I mean, they were terrified of her. Danny was so young, at 3 years old, that like he couldn't testify. They would never call him, but just his demeanor. So they had to keep her. They had to keep her away from her own children, and she's very upset about that, and she talks about it repeatedly, but she's not upset like, I don't know what's happening with them, I can't help them, we can't heal together. It's nothing like that. It's like she's offended that she would be accused, and that she's not around with them and around them, and she doesn't actually show like true genuine care and concern for their well-being. It's more about how everything makes her feel. It's nauseating. Um, oh, thank you, Jude. I appreciate that. Do you? You think it's a group of people who created the channel? Somebody local? Probably. Hey, Kendra, by the way, good to see you. Um, but yeah, it's just upsetting, like, when you listen to it. Um, yeah. All right, let's keep going. I think, so Jennifer says, I understand why, but I find it kind of sad that Christy and Danny have no contact with Becky, the child that Diane was pregnant with during trial. Yeah, I mean, it is kind of sad, but they didn't grow up together. They don't really know each other. And to me, Danny and Christy, don't really talk about that crime a lot, and they kind of want it to be, hold on, I'm coughing, and I don't want to cough in y'all's ear. They kind of keep that part of their life very private. And I think that they were greatly concerned about the amount of contact that Becky had with Diane. And I kind of feel like maybe they don't trust that she won't ever have contact with her again. And it is sad. And I think they're all doing really well now. Like, I haven't tried to find any updates on them, only because they seem like they don't really want to be public. And so I feel like the right thing to do is to respect that. And I mean, they're adults now, obviously, but I feel like trying to figure out what happened to them or whatever just sort of seems like kind of like an invasion of their privacy, and it feels wrong to do that. Like, if they wanted to come out and be public, they would. Jude asks, Bindi, do you think she believes her story? No. No. No, I think that she knows she's lying. She was there. She knows what happened. She's not delusional in that way. I think what it is for Diane is that she definitely has a lot of narcissistic traits. And I think that she's still very angry and offended that she was accused in the first place, charged in the second place, convicted in the third place. And that, you know, it's like what do they call it? A narcissistic injury or whatever. I think that's what she suffers from. She absolutely does not believe her story, and that's the thing. See, yeah, she's changed her story every parole hearing, but the one thing she has never changed is that she didn't do it. She always says that she's guilty, that she's not guilty, that she's innocent. And it's, you know, she, she you cannot, and that's why she continues to be a danger, because she takes no accountability. And so and I do think she feels very justified in what she did. She doesn't feel badly about what she did. Exactly. Exactly, Kendra. Yep, she doesn't do anything wrong, and if she does, it's someone else's fault. Exactly. If she lashes out, it's because the other person made her. Look what you made me do. You know what I mean? And so this is why she will never get out, because she refuses to take accountability. I mean, just absolutely refuses to take accountability. And she'll never get out, but that's why which is good, because because she won't say that, she won't admit to her crime. She is never going to get out, but I'm glad she's never going to get out, because she is a continued danger. She feels justified in doing what she did. I believe that. All right, let's keep going.
I don't know how long it was. And I told the nurse, please don't look like a nurse when you're around Danny. He's scared. And she took her jacket off, and that was nice. Then I went to see Christie. Oh my God. All the tubes and the machines. She was a mess. She was so white. So white. She looked dead. The doctor explained the machine. Somebody did. I think it was a doctor. Told me what everything was and what it was doing. I contented myself to the fact that the kids were getting the best possible care. I knew there was nothing I could do. I told everybody to take good care of my kids. They're all I have. And then I went up to my room, up on the 3rd floor. And there were guards there. And a guard stayed with me the whole time. But they didn't put any guards on the kids. I was concerned about that, but I guess not too concerned, because they were in intensive care and they had nurses with them all the time. So that's like having a guard. So I wasn't worried about it. And I went to my room. And they hooked up an IV. Oh gosh. That lady. She tried 3 times to get the IV in my hand. You couldn't do it. Finally, she got the IV in. It hurt. Boy, did it hurt. But she got it in. Then, the next day, the 20th, I woke up and I called Karen. Karen back home, you know. And told her what happened. And she knew I was upset. I was crying and scared. Didn't know what was going to happen with me and the kids. Didn't know if we were going to be protected when we went home. Figured they'd probably find the guy pretty fast, but I don't know if they will. So anyway, she knew I was upset. She said I needed to talk to Nick. I said no. I don't need to talk to Nick. Nick doesn't like trouble. He will run from it like a scared puppy as fast as he can. And she said, no, Nick, I needed to talk to Nick. So I said, all right, put him on the phone. She told him what happened briefly before he got on the phone, and when he got on, I told him what happened, and I told him I think that they suspect that I'm the one that did it because of all the tests they've done and the things I've heard them say out in the hall. You wouldn't believe the things they say out in the hall. Man, talk about breaking your confidence in the law enforcement officials. Sheesh. And all Nick said to me was, did you? I was crushed. I just said, no, Nick, you know me better than that. You must know I wouldn't do that. And he said, don't ever call me again. And I said, okay. I expected it, I think. I don't hate Nick. But he's weak in that respect. And it's not wrong for him, that's just him. But I respect his wishes, and I'm not going to call him anymore. This is my life, my kids. He doesn't have any real part in it, so I respect him. Anyway, that day, Friday, I had some kind of surgery on my arm. All they did was core out the bullet wound, cut out the bad stuff, and whatever. Put it back together, and I have to wait 2 weeks for surgery. Great. That's okay. The cast is heavy, and it doesn't really hurt that bad. It doesn't really hurt at all. Unless if I drop it or bang it into something, it hurts. But other than that, it really doesn't hurt. So, I stayed in the hospital till Monday. And that's today, the 23rd. While I was in the hospital, I answered questions. Like I said, Tracy wanted me to tell him exactly what happened that night, to the best of my memory. Well, I talked too fast. Not talking fast now, am I? Sorry about that. Not talking fast now because I'm burned out. I'm out of energy and
It's interesting that when she blows her nose, or like just now, she says, sorry about that, as if as if these tapes are going to be heard by somebody. Like she was preparing. Now, I believe that Diane was well aware of the public interest in this case, even early on. This is like 4 days after the crime had happened, okay? And I think that she intended to use these, one, to rehearse her story over and over and over, And two, because I think she thought she was going to make money off of this. I do. I think she thought she was going to get notoriety and be famous. And instead, what she did get notoriety, not in a good way, and she did get infamy, which is not the same as fame. And I just I think that, like I said in the chat, I think the difference between Susan Smith and Diane Downs is that I believe that Susan Smith is a sociopath. Sociopaths actually do have emotions and guilt and things like that. They just ignore it. Whereas a psychopath doesn't. And that's why Diane, that's why her affect is so flat. She doesn't react. She's not emotional at all. And see, Susan Smith, she's a sick twist too. But yeah, I think that's the difference between Diane and Susan. I actually think that Susan should never get out, ever. Neither should Diane. I think that Susan has remorse for her crime, not for the children. The remorse is for herself. Like, if I wouldn't have done this, I wouldn't be sitting here in prison. Not, if I wouldn't have done this, my children would be alive. How could I do this to my children? They, especially because she sat in court. And one of the things that they did was they recreated the crime, and they put 2 teddy bears in the car seats and attached cameras inside the vehicle to you. So from all angles, including to the teddy bears in the car seats, so that the jury would see what those boys saw as the car sank. And they were trapped. They were strapped in those car seats. And she feels guilt not for what she did to her children, but for herself. There's a difference. Diane, on the other hand, has no remorse. None at all. This was something that was done to her. In my opinion, they're equally evil. The level of evil is equal. They're just evil in different ways. They show it differently.
I'm just out of it. But I talked fast then. I got it all out. He put it on tape. And then he says, if there's anything else you remember, let us know. My gosh, what more could I remember? He says, nope, sometimes you forget things. Let us know. I said, all right, I will. Gave me his card and all that stuff, So if I remember anything, I'll let him know. I don't know if I ever want to remember anymore. What I do remember was too ugly.
If you guys want to, we can discuss Susan Smith, Kimberly, if you guys want to. Susan Smith is man. And I know that Boss Lady is rewinding to start at the beginning, but when you get to this part, hi, Boss Lady. We can totally discuss Susan Smith if you want. I mean, we can do a whole series if you want on mothers who kill their children, if you want. I'd be happy to do that for you guys if that's something you're interested in. Oh.
What I was living with right then was ugly. The detectives would come in my room and they really seemed like they cared. They were willing to listen. But when I was laying in my room, thinking, I could hear them outside talking. trying to find holes in my story. Just didn't seem right.
Oh, yes, Kimberly. Susan Smith has a bad jacket inside. It's bad. I know you guys know the channel Phone Calls from Prison. Well, that channel used to have, and they might still have them, and they just might be on members only. I don't know. I have to go look again. But that channel had phone calls from Susan Smith, y'all. Mm, 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 mm. Yes, this is that she is scams a lot of men. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I could probably request Susan Smith's phone calls. I can try. Let me see if I can get them.
I'm sorry. I told him what I remembered. If they don't like it, what can I do about it? Like I said, though, it breaks your confidence, makes you really wonder what's happening with this world and the legal system. My kids and I are attacked. And it just doesn't sound like they believe me. Tracy came to do a drawing for me. They don't really do drawings anymore, you know that? They get these plastic cards and they put one on top of the other. One has eyes, one has a mouth, one has a nose. And they slap them all together, and that's supposed to be a person. And there just aren't enough little plastic cards because that person wasn't right. Tried to tell him it wasn't right. We must have gone over it 3 or 4 times, changing things. And he started getting just a bit agitated, and I said, fine, just leave it. That's close enough. The eyes, nose, and mouth have got it just fine, you know. He said it will look different in the paper. The guy looked fat to me. This guy wasn't fat. But he said it would look better in the paper, so I said okay. And he left. And then today I got out of the hospital. Danny went to Sacred Heart.
Isn't it interesting that 4 days after the shooting, she's already making, to me, what sounds like excuses for why this guy is not going to be caught? Not because she completely made him up out of whole cloth. No, 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 no. It's because the man who came in to get her description and to get together something so that they could distribute it so people could be on the lookout. He got it wrong, knew we got it wrong, and said it would look better in the paper. Diane, that is not how it works. Stop playing with these people again. Sheesh. Yes. Yes. Kendra, that's a perfect analogy. Kendra said her phone calls with her lover, I felt like I was watching Luke and Laura again. Yes. Yes. Hey, Allie, good to see you, babe. Allie says, it's so just chilling or eerie. I don't know. Hard to explain, but I hate it. And is she faking it? Yeah, she's faking it. I mean, her tone is her tone. She has this flat effect all the time. All the time. This is just her. But what she's trying to do, I think, is to have emotions that she actually doesn't have. She's not sad about any of this. She's sad for what happened to her. She's sad that her and Nick are not going to be together anymore, but that's it. That's what she's sad about.
Paul got here, my brother, and Phyllis. That's Jamie's wife. James got here this evening.
Luke and Laura are the couple from the soap opera General Hospital. Oh, Luke and Laura. And then after Luke and Laura, it was Lucky and Elizabeth for a long time. Those were the days.
Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, the kids have guards now. I had a guard with me, went everywhere with me. That's another thing that really made me feel strange. This guard stuck to me like glue. And I mean, fine if he's protecting my life, but who does he have to protect me from in the hospital? And if I went to see my kids, he went with me and stuck to my side. That really makes you feel kind of crappy, too. Like he doesn't really trust you. I even tested him. It was funny. I shouldn't have done it, I suppose, but I wanted to know if I was being paranoid or if I was being honest with myself. I went to see Danny, talked to him, gave him kisses. And then I went to see Christie, and he followed me. And then I went back to see Danny, and he followed me. It was really, I shouldn't laugh, I suppose, but I mean, he was so obvious. So obvious. Anybody else could go see the kids, and they didn't give a damn. My parents were there. My brother was there today. Phyllis was there. They didn't know Phyllis from the man in the moon. But the only person they followed around was me. Dumb. Their mother. The woman who loves them more than anybody in the world. The woman who drove him to the hospital. Even though everything was so ugly.
Diane, you drove them to the hospital in first gear. First gear. Stop it. You need to stop. Oh, my mom was a huge. We weren't a Dallas household when I was growing up. We were a dynasty household. And I remember, just as a little sidebar, when I remember when we moved to the house in Arizona, my parents bought it, and we were going to have the first Thanksgiving in that house, and we were going to have the whole family. Like my mom has there's 8 of them, so she's got 6. There's 6 girls, so she's got 5 sisters and 2 brothers and her mom, and they were all coming for Thanksgiving. And she was in the kitchen doing the prep work for Thanksgiving, and Dynasty was on. And my mom, the way that they had the house set up, there was like when you walked in the front door, there was the living room, and then there was the kitchen, and then on the other side of the kitchen was a family room. But for whatever reason, they had the TV in the living room. At one point, after that, I guess the TV went in. I remember it being in the family room at one point, but it started out in the formal living room. Anyway, and my mom was in the kitchen making stuff, prep, and she would holler out to the living room, "Jen, is it a commercial yet? Come and tell me what happened. Come and tell me what happened." It was, yeah. My mom, she worked, so like the only time we ever watched like soap operas was when we were sick. So my mom would stay home with us, and she was an ABC soap gal. We watched All My Children, One Life to Live, and General Hospital. And yeah, so that's how we grew up watching all of that. But that's like one of my I just remember that. Jen, what happened? Alexis said what? She did what? Are you sure? Come in here and stir this so I can go see. Yeah, she loved Dynasty. Oh, I miss my mom. All right, here we go. Sorry for the sidebar.
All that blood. And I kept it together enough to get to the hospital. And they're protecting the kids from the person that saved them. Oh well, that's ironic. But it's life.
You know, me and my sister watched Ryan's Hope during the summer. We did. But Ryan's Hope didn't like stay on. I mean, it was on for a long time, but you know, when you can only watch during the summer, you miss a lot. So, I think if I remember correctly, I think the way that the TV programming, the schedule was, I think we used the time that Ryan's Hope was on to do the chores that my mom and dad would give us to do during the summer, like that 1 hour or 30. I think Ryan's Hope was only like 30 minutes. That 30 minutes, you know, my mom would be like, okay, you need to vacuum the kitchen, you need to vacuum the living room. Me and my sister would be doing all those chores in that 30 minutes.
When I left the hospital, I was scared. God, going to that front door in that wheelchair, I wanted to just grab the wheels and stop the chair. I was terrified. I didn't know if he was waiting outside, ready to get rid of me, afraid that I said something. I went outside and it's a sick feeling. It's just a cold, sweat, sick feeling. Fear. And I got in the car and I went home. All those flowers. You wouldn't believe all the flowers we brought home today. Goodness gracious. I need to write thank you cards to everybody. Anyway. When we got home, my mom brought all the flowers in. I brought in what I could, but I don't know. I feel dead. I feel like I'm not here. I found a heart. Sherry made a heart, cut a little piece of paper out, and wrote I love you, Mom, on it. It was on the counter with a pile of papers, and I saw it. I walked in the door and saw Sherry's picture sitting on the speaker of the stereo. Just cried.
Okay, so let me correct something that I said earlier. She's already home. This is 4 days out from the shooting. She was released after 4 days. That's how insignificant her gunshot wound was.
I miss her. I miss all of them. I wish I could stay there with them. I'd just have a guard following me around, though. Oh, wow. Tracy wanted me to go out and reenact the crime for them today. On video. I went. It was hot. It was hot today, it really was. It was all sweaty. They impounded my work shoes and my thongs. I didn't have any shoes, so I had to wear my mom's tennies. She had to tie them for me. You know how embarrassing that is. I haven't had my shoes tied since I was probably 2. Anyway, I reenacted the crime for him. Doug was there. And a bunch of other people, I don't know. But then Doug and Dick Tracy and I went out and drove the route. And I told him about how fast I was driving. I don't know how fast I was.
Flip-flops, Callie Lisa, flip-flops. That's what they were called back in the day, before they became underwear.
Was driving. I could give a good estimate, but my gosh, who looks at how fast they're driving? So we drove the route, went past where it happened again. They said they found 2 .22 caliber shells right there. They said that means it was a .22 caliber handgun that did all that damage. It's funny. Steve said a .22 handgun would never kill anybody. I guess he was wrong, wasn't he? Sherry's not here. Anyway. I'm tired. I'm very tired. And that's about all the main stuff that's happened. I wish I could remember everything that happened that night.
Oh, that's okay. You'll just make shit up later. Don't worry about it, Diane. No, Allie, that was Susan Smith. Susan Smith pushed the car into the lake. See, before Susan Smith, there was Diane Downs. Diane Downs is the original evil.
Then again, I'm glad that I don't remember. It's too ugly. I hope they catch him. And then again, what good is revenge? It isn't going to bring my Cheryl back. It's not going to make Chris and Dan whole. I just wish it had never happened. Oh well. I'm going to close for now. Not much more to tell, and I'm tired. Talk to you later. Oh yes, I almost forgot to tell you. Today, on the 23rd also, we went to the funeral home to make arrangements for Cher.
How in the actual F could you forget that part? Okay, so Allie says, oh, okay, I've watched some stuff about Diane Downs, though I'm just meshing them. But I remember the boyfriend stuff and the kids in the back seat. Did Susan have her kids in the car? I don't know that one. Yes. Susan Smith, Allie, we just watched her parole hearing last year. I covered it. And what she did was claim that a man of color carjacked her with her 2 boys inside. And then later, days and days and days and days later, after none of her story was adding up, and she finally confessed. And what she had done is she had driven the kids, Alex and Michael, to the boat ramp, taken off the emergency brake, took off, let the emergency brake off, and the car rolled slowly while those 2 boys were strapped in their car seats in the back seat. And in the trial, they I forgot this part. Neat reminded me. Alex and Michael were when they were found in the lake. They were holding they were holding each other's hands. But during trial, they recreated what happened, and they mounted cameras inside the vehicle, and they put 2 teddy bears with cameras on them inside in the boys' car seats, so that the jury could see exactly what Alex and Michael went through. It was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking. It was awful. It was the saddest thing it's one of the saddest things I've seen in a long, long time. And yeah, it was bad. But I find this tape. She has been talking now for 36 minutes and 8 seconds. And it's like an added, just, oh my gosh, I forgot to tell you that so and so called me today. I haven't heard from them in 20 years. That's how she's talking about planning the funeral of her 7-year-old daughter. She's so disgusting.
And I swear to you, Steve made such a fool of himself. We were at the hospital talking about going to the funeral home. He jumped up and tried to run at me. He was going to attack me, I guess, because he said that I was sneering at him. Steve has such a persecution complex sometimes. You know what really gets me, though, is there's this woman, Paula Krogdahl, from the DA's office. She hates my guts, and I've never done anything to her. But she makes some...
No, you didn't do anything to her. You shot your 3 children, killing one of them, you piece of shit. That's why people don't like you. I don't have to know you. You don't have to have done anything personally to me, but the crime that you committed makes me not like you, makes most people not like you. God.
One of the most wicked faces at me and just catty remarks. And she plays footsie with Steve, just all cuddly sweetsy, patting him on the back and going on and on. Poor grieving father. And she hates me. And I'm the mother, and I don't understand it. I probably never will. One of these days, I don't know. Maybe I'll know what's going on. But as of right now, she hates me and she thinks Steve's the greatest. So at the funeral home today, Steve was acting like a jerk and Paula was just patting him on the whole way. It made me hurt, but I made it through it.
That's what made her hurt. Not the fact that she's planning a funeral for her 7-year-old child. It's the fact that Steve was getting comforted and not her, because after all, Diane is the victim in the situation. God, she's she's something else. All right. So I'm going to leave it there for you guys tonight. Now, tomorrow night is the parole from 2020. If y'all have not watched the parole hearing or listened, because it's audio, the parole hearing no, actually, that's not true. There's video. I think 2020 is video. If y'all have not seen it, I would say just wait and watch it, because it's one of those things that, yeah, you can watch certain parts over again, but you don't want to watch the whole thing over again, because it's a roller coaster of, I don't even know how to describe it to you guys if you haven't seen it, but we'll watch that tomorrow. And then when we're done with the parole hearing from 2020, we'll start the parole hearing from 2025. Yeah. Hold on. I'll tell you how many times Diane Downs has been up for parole. All right. Give me just 1 second. Let's see. Let me see. So her first parole hearing was 2008. Then she had another parole hearing in 2010 and 2020. But it's the 2021 that is just something else. So yeah. Yes, Allie. Allie says, did one of the surviving kids tell on her while in the hospital? Maybe not flat out. I can't remember. So her daughter, Christie, who was 8 at the time, um, she suffered a stroke as a result of her injuries. And so she had to, like, learn to walk, learn to talk, um, and in the interim, once she was well enough to be discharged from the hospital, she went to a foster home, and, she started there were signs when her mom would go visit her in the hospital that something wasn't quite right, and over time, she um, she ended up telling the story, and then ended up, testifying against her mom at the trial. So, yeah, yeah, but I mean, this is an awful, awful, awful story, and, I think when, like, you get like, when I listened to the 2020, um, parole hearing, the things that were coming out of Diane Downs's mouth were so what's the term she used? Fantastical story, um, that I it took me away for a minute, and, I mean, it's not like I didn't remember her crime and stuff like that, but, um, I didn't remember, like, the early stages. Of course, not like the audio of her diary and stuff like that hadn't come out. What I remember is, watching Oprah when I was younger and, seeing her and Anne Rule go at it on Oprah. That's what I remember. And, of course, I watched the movie, Small Sacrifices, but it's interesting to, hear her, um, early stories. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, we absolutely definitely need to talk about, Darlie Routier, 'cause her case is something else too. But yeah. Oh, come on. Kendra, really? You don't like Small Sacrifices? I did, I liked it. I mean, it was sad to me, but I've always liked Farrah Fawcett, always. I remember watching her in The Burning Bed. I didn't watch, but I wasn't a Charlie's Angels. I didn't watch that. I know her from The Burning Bed and from Small Sacrifices. That's how I know Farrah Fawcett. But anyway, I liked that movie, and it is on YouTube if you guys wanna watch it. So, um, anyway. Hey, Tiffany, good to see you, babe. Um, no, Diane didn't have emotion like that. And see, this is the thing. I think, um, it's really hard, um, I think, to translate a feeling or a like a concept sometimes, like an abstract concept. It's really hard sometimes to translate that on film. And so I think when they do a movie that's, based on actual events, I think they tend to over dramatize it. I think that I don't think that Farah I don't think any human being that has any empathy in them at all would I don't think there's an actor or actress that I can think of off the top of my head right now that could adequately capture Diane Downs' flat effect. I don't, um, I just don't think that, I just don't think there was a way for her to do that. Um, I you know, Hey, Crocheting Bammy, good to see you, babe. Oh, wow, congratulations. Congratulations. Yeah, moving sucks, but congratulations on the new house. That's exciting. All right, you guys, I have to get off of here. I got to get to bed. I have to get up. I'm sorry. Excuse me. I have to get up at 4:30 tomorrow morning. So, yeah. I have to. I need to. I'm going to think about that though. I feel like I cannot think of an actress that would be able to really capture that flat effect. Darlie Routier's case. This is if we talk about Darlie's case, right? It's super polarizing. And there are people that firmly believe in her guilt, and there are people that firmly believe in her innocence. And I don't mind presenting it. I don't. And I don't mind everybody's different opinions. I must say that oh wow, thank you so much, Oz. I appreciate that. That's so sweet of you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. I I I must confess that I kind of waffle from between guilt and innocence with Darlie. I'm not 100% convinced one way or the other at this point. I think there's arguments to be made on both, but I know that there's been some new developments recently. And so like what I'll do is I'll just present it fairly. If I like, I'll give you an example, the silly string. Okay. Because I lived in Texas when this happened. In fact, this was what, 1996? No, 94. Because I remember my mom and dad got their, got Fagin, our chocolate lab from the same, from Rowlett, which is where Darlie and the boys lived. Anyway, but I remember watching the silly string incident when it happened on the news and thinking, what in the actual F is this woman doing? Well, then it comes out later. Yeah, she's still on death row. It comes out later that, yes, that whole thing was recorded. There was a camera at the gravesite, but there was the silly string came after a very somber remembrance, a very somber ceremony. And, there are little things like that. There's, but I know that I saw something recently that there's been some new, Meryl might be able to do a good Diane. She can be very cold. Yeah, she's good at that. Meryl might be able to do a good Diane. But there's been, I think that, Darlie's been appealing her case. She's on death row, so her appeals she's got like a ton more to go. And there's been some DNA testing done, I think. And I'm going to look into that. And see what's going on there before. So maybe what we'll do is we'll go chronologically, right? So it started with Diane Downs, and the next one that I remember is Susan Smith. But I'll check like that, I'll do some research to find out if there were others in between there that, and we'll just go through them like that. We'll just do a whole series. All right, you guys, now I have to really go. All right, you guys have a great rest of your night. I appreciate you guys being here so very much. If you haven't done so already, hey, give your girl a thumbs up if you want, thumbs down if you want. Either way, I leave it to your judgment. If you want the link to the Diane Downs TV channel, just check the description. It will be in it. It will be in the description at the top. All right. You guys have a great night and a good day tomorrow, and I'll see you tomorrow night. All right.